Hi everybody, how are we all doing? I hope we're having a good weekend so far. So today is Saturday the 14th of December and I'm here to do my next Arrow character spotlight, and it's none other than Oliver Queen's former best friend, Malcolm Merlyn's son, aka Tommy Merlyn. Now, what do we know about Tommy Merlyn? Well, there's not a great deal that we know about Tommy Merlyn, but there is a character that Tommy and Malcolm put together are both alluded to, and this character is simply known as Merlyn. I'll get to him in a moment, but let's talk about Tommy. Okay, Tommy is played by Colin Donnell, and he was a regular in season 1. We found that he's a rich billionaire kid who, you know, is Oliver's best friend. He missed him when he was away you know, when he thought he was dead for those 5 years that he was on the island. When Oliver returns, Tommy is happy to see him, throws a party for him as well. Then we find out that Tommy and Laurel have been getting it on. They were getting it on when they thought that Oliver had died. Oliver finds out by himself. You know, no one has to tell him. He actually finds out on his own, even though there was that night where Theo was absolutely drunk and told Oliver in front of Tommy and Laurel. Oliver didn't even flinch because he just thought, well, I already knew, but whatever. So, as I say, Tommy's he really is a good friend of Oliver's. You know, they've been best friends since they were kids. We later find out that Tommy's mother, Rebecca, who had a clinic in the Glades, was brutally murdered by someone in the Glades, and when Malcolm found out that what happened, that's when he flipped. That's when he left Tommy, went to Nanda Parbat, came back a changed man. We know exactly what happened between him and Moira during that time. So, you know, he didn't treat Tommy properly. He didn't look after him properly. But then, as time went on, you know, Tommy was enjoying his life. He really was enjoying his life. You know, because he's got all this money. He's helping out Oliver. He's working with Oliver. You know, at one point when we find out that Malcolm's actually his dad, that was a shock and a half. We find out that Malcolm's his dad actually cuts him off, cuts his trust fund and everything, so he's got no money whatsoever, because then Malcolm's trying to teach Tommy a lesson to get out there in the real world. You know, your life is not all about the fact that I'm just giving you money for you to play around with. It's time for you to learn what life is like, what the real world is actually like, and experience it for yourself. So Tommy resents all of this. He resents his father for what he did, but at the same time, when he finds out that his father wants to tear down the clinic that his mother had built, well, Tommy completely lost it and just didn't want to know his father after that. And then obviously, he finds out about Oliver's secret through the fact that his dad got poisoned by Deadshot's bullets with curare, and Oliver has to reveal himself to Tommy in order for Tommy to allow him to save his dad. But even though he does that, Tommy feels betrayed for the fact that Oliver never told him and was never going to tell him that he was the Hood. You know, and at the same time, when even when Tommy and Laurel break up, and Oliver is telling Tommy, you know, you should speak to her, you should tell her how you feel, and yet Oliver goes and has sex with Laurel. You know, so there again, Tommy has felt betrayed yet again by Oliver. And it's interesting to see, we're thinking, right, at this point we're thinking, oh my god, where is this going to take Tommy? What sort of path is it going to take him down? And then we find out he goes back to his dad, and he works for his dad at Merlyn Global Consortium, I believe is the company. So he's working for his dad. He's like, you know, made one of the chairmen of the board or the directors of the board as such. But then obviously when the season finale came, and then we saw what Malcolm did with the earthquake device, Tommy gets caught at the CNRI trying to save Laurel. Oliver comes to save Laurel, but then that's when he finds Tommy, and then he tells Tommy that, you know, it should have been him. It should have been him that should have died. You know, look, you know, he dealt with his dad, and then that's when Tommy passes away, and then we come to season 2, and the first time that we see Tommy is in this week's episode of Arrow, titled "Three Ghosts." Now, when I spoke about my review, I did say that there was a Christmas Carol element about this, hence the title of the episode being called Three Ghosts. Ghost of Christmas Past, Ghost of Christmas Present, and Ghost of Christmas Future. Shadow was the Ghost of Christmas Past. Slade is the Ghost of Christmas Present. That can only mean that Tommy is the Ghost of Christmas Future. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, does this mean that Tommy is still alive? Has Malcolm taken Tommy to a Lazarus pit and brought him back to life, but is keeping him hidden for the time being, by, even though he tells Moira that he feels bad for Tommy's death, but has Tommy somehow been revived? And if not by Malcolm, has someone else decided to revive Tommy? Are we going to see Tommy reappear at some point in the next, but before the end of this season? Or if we get to a season 3, will he show up in season 3? You've got to look at it in that sense, because we're talking about a Christmas Carol vibe for this episode. Hence past, present, and future. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how that goes. Now that's where I come to the character of Merlyn himself, who has appeared in the comics, and even so, Tommy Merlyn has appeared in the New 52 a few times in the Green Arrow 0 issue, I believe, and then again showed up later on at some point in another issue, I believe, as well. So he is present in the New 52, just not as present as he is on Arrow. But Merlyn himself even, he is definitely more of the Dark Archer. So as I say, this is where you got Tommy and Malcolm both put together as such a, they are collectively this Merlyn from the comics. He's known as Arthur King as opposed to Tommy or Malcolm Merlyn, and so he's given he's actually like a mentor to Oliver in so many ways. So yeah, as I say, not much is known about the character Merlyn. I myself don't know much about that character either, but he's part of, he was also part of the League of Assassins with with Ra's al Ghul in there as well. He has worked for the Injustice League. He's even been trained by, I say he was a tutor of Damian Wayne, but he was also learning a bit from Damian as well. So yeah, he's even in Action Comics. Excuse me, I'm sneezing today. But his first appearance, this is Merlyn, was in Justice League of America number 94 in November of 1971. So yeah, Neil Adams was one of the creators for this character as well. So think of him, the name Merlyn is very interesting because it's got this King Arthur vibe to it, hence the character's alter ego in the comics is Arthur King. So, there's a whole Merlyn, Arthur, Knights of the Round Table sort of feel about the whole thing as well. But yeah, and there's even a point of where Merlyn was actually going to go after Batman, and then that's when Green Arrow saves Batman's life by deflecting one of Merlyn's arrows, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, as I say, there isn't much to say about Merlyn, that particular side of things. But Tommy Merlyn on Arrow, on the other hand, wow, there's a lot going on there. So who knows? Could he be back for the rest of season 2, or will we see him in season 3? We'll see. I can't wait, is all I'm going to say. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all very soon. Bye.